Hey everyone, Mustache here. Sorry for the jump scare in your feed, guys, but yes, I'm finally back for my 2025 end of year lists. Unlike last year though, there's gonna be videos for both my best and worst songs of the year, so you guys get another much longer video to look forward to in the near future. But until then, we're stuck talking about the true cream of the crop this year, so let's just get started. Kicking us off, we've got Tom Simons, aka Tommy In It, with The Internet's Getting Worse. If you saw my second YouTuber songs tier list, you'll know exactly how I feel about this track. And technically speaking, it did come out in November of 2024, but I don't care, I'm still counting it because I want to talk about it more. This song is literally just Welcome to the Internet by Bo Burnham. Same synth-poppy sound, same lyrical focus, but just missing the biting satire that makes Bo's version actually entertaining. And unfortunately, Tommy In It decided that the best thing to replace the satire with was nuclear levels of cringe. And look, I don't hate Tommy In It or anything. I think he's got like some funny tweets about Logan Paul or something, but just stick to Minecraft, lol, bro. NLE Choppa and Imagine Dragons team up to make another melodramatic formulaic track with an awful chorus. Kind of the standard Imagine Dragons MO, just with a mid-rap verse sprinkled in. And look, Dan Reynolds is another one where like, they seem like a good guy, but what on earth is this chorus?
Take my life, wet your knife, and never get me.
Plus you've got those generic ass claps and choir chants, just painful. And also unrelated to the song, but I love the cover art so much, because you could just tell that they all thought to themselves like, man, this is gonna go so hard when they shot the photo. But then NLE Choppa looks like he's being forced to present in front of the class, and then Dan Reynolds looks like the Shrek gif where he just looks up and smirks. And who the fuck are these other two people? Yes, you read that right. Certified pedophile Tyga came out with a song called Slave in 2025. I mean, that should be enough already to make it on this list, surely. But yes, the title means exactly what you feared, with Tyga rapping pretty much exclusively about sex, all while a vocal in the back repeats the phrase "I'm a slave" in the chorus. Honestly, the song's just more boring than anything else, but for how skin-crawling the whole vibe of it is given the Kylie Jenner stuff that we still haven't forgot about Tyga, I'm giving it a spot here. Although shout out to the line, "bounce on my lap, throw it back," like a throwback. Genius. Oh my god, and then I forgot there's another line here where he says everything is consensual, and then chuckles? Bro, way to make me not believe you. Drake and Fiesta Next Door with, you guessed it, Meet Your Padre. I mean, this one was talked about like crazy when it dropped, but like, actually, why does Drake have an addiction to doing these fake accents? I don't think there's a single song of his where it works out well. I'm genuinely convinced that he's gotta be doing it for engagement, right? And I mean, fair enough, it worked. Besides Nokia, this was like the only song I saw people talking about on Some Sexy Songs For You when it dropped, but like, was it really worth it? And as for Party Next Door, funnily enough, this year I finally went back and checked out more of his earlier mixtapes and ended up liking them way more than I expected. But that really only added to the disappointment I felt hearing his verse, since now I had a real reference to see just how much he was phoning it in across this whole album. I will say though, the instrumental is kinda cool with the flamenco guitar and horns, even if it is kinda cheap sounding. Guys, holy shit. I have seen Opium Baby on way too many best songs of the year lists to not crash out about it. This song sucks. I will repeat this for the 1000th time. Just because a track is experimental does not mean that the experiment was a success. I'll talk about it more on my best songs list, but this year I actually had quite the turnaround with my opinion of Rage. But I still for the life of me don't understand what people see in this style of it. Don't get me wrong, I love a blown out 808 as much as the next guy, but when it's to the point where they're drowning out literally everything else on the track, we have a serious problem. Maybe I just can't appreciate the true avant-garde genius of Playboi Carti's music, but Opium Baby to me really exemplifies this throwing shit all over the wall and seeing which poop sticks mentality that I think most of music has. This one just depresses me. Like, did anyone ask for a cover of one of the greatest, catchiest, and best written rock songs of all time? By Machine Gun Kelly? Fair enough, Julia Wolf is also on this song, and her singing is actually pretty alright, but MGK just isn't a powerful enough vocalist to ever come close to replicating the emotion the original track has to it. To be honest, MGK as a whole actually had a better year than I expected. His Lost Americana album was bad, don't get me wrong, but nowhere near the depths of mainstream sellout or genre sad boy. And I'll go even further and say that if this track wasn't a cover, I genuinely wouldn't give it a second of my attention. But the fact that it's so much worse than the original Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls in terms of quality really makes it earn a spot on this list. And we're not done with terrible covers of iconic older tracks just yet, since next up we have Callum Scott and Whitney Houston, yes, that Whitney Houston, with I Wanna Dance With Somebody, parentheses, who loves me. Now, if you're wondering why a song that released in 1987 qualified for this Worst Songs of 2025 list, or whoever the hell Callum Scott is, I'll answer both of those questions for you. Essentially, this is a reimagining of sorts of Whitney Houston's classic, except it's a generic piano ballad with generic English singer number 4732 duetting with arguably the greatest vocalist of all time. Like MGK's Iris cover, this is another one that doesn't technically sound that bad. I mean, after all, it does feature Whitney Houston, but it's more so what the song represents in our current music hellscape that makes it so terrible. And the fact that Whitney Houston's estate actually approved this garbage is infuriating. I mean, I guess one small positive is that they are real Whitney Houston vocals, when nowadays you could very easily just AI generate them and make a song instead. The bar really is in hell. Man, you guys remember when people were like genuinely hyped for the Carter 6? Peanuts to an Elephant is another track that was pretty universally clowned on when it first dropped, but give it another listen if you haven't in a while. I promise it's as bad as you remember. And the worst part is, the verses genuinely aren't that bad. Like, there's some classic funny Wayne bars in here. But the instrumental, produced by Lin-Manuel Miranda for those unaware, might just be the worst thing I've heard a mainstream rapper hop on in a very, very long time.
Up though, bands on bands in my pants, that's a drum roll. Elephant memory, but I can't remember her.
I mean, forget Carti. Maybe this is the true avant-garde genius that we as a society can only truly appreciate in the coming years. But until that time comes around, I'm gonna continue calling this track dog shit. And here we have another cover that simply did not need to exist, JoJo Siwa with Betty Davis Eyes. Now forgive me, but I haven't really been keeping up with JoJo Siwa since the whole dream guest on my podcast and like the funny dance that she did. But correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't she supposed to be like the new gay pop icon? Not saying that she came anywhere close to that, but that was like her whole kind of marketing thing, right? And now she's out here doing her best housewife cosplay and making covers like this. It doesn't make sense. This one's a little bit interesting though, since this is the first cover on here where I actually don't really like the original song, which makes it all the crazier that JoJo's version is still miles worse, mainly due to the auto-tune. It's genuinely hilarious hearing the natural rasp she has in her voice and the auto-tune having a Stalingrad-esque battle for control of the song, especially around the higher notes. It is such a jarring combination.
She's precocious, and she knows just what it takes.
I don't really know much about Betty Davis herself, but I do know she's certainly rolling in her grave because of this disastrous cover. 69 by Self-Esteem is like if a nun heard Brat by Charlie XCX and it triggered a sexual awakening. And this is that record that Self-Esteem most likely paid critics to gas the fuck out of, which gives it a hilariously disproportionate critic and user score. And 69 is by far the most unlistenable track on here, with lyrics dedicated to rating different sex positions, I guess. And it's done with this very uncomfortable whispery tone to it that makes it feel like ASMR almost. I really don't like it. And again, I don't want to sound like a prude or anything. I don't hate all songs about sex, but there is a fine line between a song being horny versus just plain awkward. You just gotta listen to the track in full to hear all of the cringy lines, and not to mention that intro. What? Okay, this one is a bit of a cop-out, I guess, but this is technically a song, and Brad Taste in Music has made enough music that I technically consider him an artist. But yeah, as a former Brad fan, his downfall this year was incredibly disappointing to see, and nothing really caps that off more than this 48-minute weed-induced rambling freestyle essentially bragging about abusing his ex-girlfriend. Which, yeah, if you aren't aware, I'm not going to go into the whole story, but this is one of the main reasons he ended up getting deplatformed. And you know, normally, I like to jokingly recommend these songs when they're like funny bad, but this one I just recommend to avoid and pretend it doesn't exist. Just know that based on my description, it is absolutely as bad as it sounds. Dude, I don't even know why I decided to include this one. Like, all Tom MacDonald songs are terrible in the exact same way that they aren't even fun to talk about anymore. But this one, of course made literally one day after Charlie Kirk got shot, is perfectly emblematic of how the grift is literally the only important thing to Tom. And don't get me wrong, I don't give a shit about respecting the legacy of Charlie Kirk. The man was a bigot. But like, his body hadn't even gone cold at this point, and Tom MacDonald already had a track fired up with bars like, "I'm so tired of the left and all the wokery," and "sniper rifle fire from a liberal that no one sees." Like, imagine being in Tom's shoes here. After essentially a peer of his was just shot and killed in front of the entire world, the first thing he thought to himself was, man, how can I use this event to further my own political agenda? What a truly miserable existence to find yourself in. Also, gotta love how at the beginning of the music video, Tom says all the proceeds will be donated. Well, I mean, surely he donated the proceeds to an organization working to prevent gun violence, or hell, maybe even just a regular charity. That'd be fine too. No, it was donated directly to the Kirk family. Erica Kirk, need I remind you all, now being the current CEO of Turning Point USA, the far-right propaganda machine founded by Charlie. So yeah, I'm sure the $50,000 that Tom sent is really going to a good place here. The world we live in stresses me out, dude. Alright, and finally back to a pretty fun one here. All My Women features a catastrophic link-up of the savior of punk, Ronnie Radke, and the savior of country, Hardy. And what's nice is I really think the cover perfectly encapsulates the vibe of this song. Sleazy, unfunny, with a helping handful of misogyny. The whole track is essentially Ronnie and Hardy crooning about how the girls that they're into are all stupid, crazy bitches, but, you know, that's how we like them, baby. Yeah, I need a bitch that fucking steals my pets and, drunk drives all the time, I guess. And of course the classic, women with bipolar. Please, Lord, let me find all of the bitches with debilitating mental illnesses so I can control and manipulate them so much easier. It's just a very gross message in my opinion, and the song sounds like the classic shit fusion of country, trap, and metal that Falling in Reverse seems to excel at. And to top it all off, Ronald decides to hit us with that fake southern twang, of course. I don't usually like to say this about most artists, you know, pursue your creative passions or whatever, but both of these guys would make the world a much better place if they just stopped making music. Alright, listen, I did not put this one on the list purely because of the meme. The origin song of 6ix7ine, even without the joke, is genuinely atrocious. Like many, I'm not really familiar with the rest of Skrilla's catalog, but holy shit, this goofy-ass delivery he uses in every line is just comical. Like, it sounds like You Know Miles, but done completely unironically. There's also the fact that he uses the super offbeat flow throughout the verse, which, combined with the song's very bare-bone instrumental, gives the track a truly uncomfortable feeling, if that makes sense. And not the kind of uncomfortable where it's like intentionally done, it more so just makes me immediately want to listen to something else. Plus the fact that the track's only 2.5 minutes but feels like an unending slog past the 30-second mark truly makes this one of the worst listening experiences I've had in 2025. Alright, and how many songs have we got left here? Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fuck! No, I'm kidding, we're actually at our final entry, and I know these aren't ranked, but this is probably my true least favorite track of 2025. Kanye West, Cousins. I'll be honest here, I don't really know how to talk about how bad this song is without coming off as dismissive of the subject matter. And trigger warning for topics like incest, CSA, porn addiction, drug addiction, etc. There's a lot here. For those who don't know, this track details a sexual relationship that Kanye had with his male cousin when they were both children, and that's as much as I'll describe of it because the specific details that Ye describes are extremely grim. And being truthful here, even a concept as depraved as this could be tackled in a musically captivating way to create a song that, while still being extremely disturbing, does have some actual artistic merit. The problem is that this was created by 2025 Kanye, who seemingly has permanently lost the ability to make good music. So we end up with a song that's essentially the musical equivalent of a snuff film. From the awful mix to the extremely tasteless They Thought I Was Gay sample from New Tank, to the fact that after a minute the track literally just evolves into a Dave Blunt song with an AI deepfake of Kanye's voice over it. Hell, even the cover, which I don't think I can actually show uncensored in this video, but depicts a woman having sex with a swan, which, unfun fact, comes from an old painting by a famous artist in Nazi Germany, of course. Every single aspect of this song comes together to form maybe the most genuinely repulsive track that I've ever heard. Surely not the worst song ever made, but if I had to pick a single song that gives me the strongest negative emotional response upon listening, it'd be Cousins, without a doubt. Alright, palate cleanser time. You guys deserve it. But in all seriousness, to those of you who made it this far, through the video and the content drive of this channel, thank you so much for watching my worst songs of 2025 list. If you enjoyed, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel to see new uploads from me sometimes. I know, I wish I could promise that weekly or even bi-weekly videos will resume after this, but you know, I'm older now, I'm 21, I've got a lot more real-world responsibilities that I unfortunately kind of have to prioritize over this channel. I mean, finishing my degree has been insanely time-consuming, and that doesn't even factor in any of the other extracurriculars that I've been in, or even just personal life stuff. On the bright side, however, ditching the set schedule, I think at least, will allow me to make stuff that I'm really truly passionate about, instead of churning out half-baked ideas for videos in the hopes of not missing any deadlines, which, let's be honest, I still ended up missing most of the time. And of course, there is still the best songs of the year list video coming right around the corner, so you guys can still be excited for that. And Quadeca Song Bracket will be coming out after the yearly lists. Don't worry, it's not scrapped or anything, scrapyard reference. It will be coming out at some point in the future, I promise. But sorry, back to the regular outro now. Also, make sure to leave a comment letting me know what you think about these worst song picks, and drop your least favorite song of 2025 in the comments as well. And finally, if you'd like to support the channel further, you can now become a member to receive early access to all of my videos, as well as a special shout out from me at the end of them, as you can see on screen right now. So join up if you're interested, it really does help me out a lot. But yeah, that's about it. 6, 7, get out of here.